Driscoll is running as a Democrat for Toledo City Council, and he wants your vote this September. So Mac is joining me now on Zoom. Mac, how are you doing?
I'm good, Jaden. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So can you first tell me, what are you running for a seat on City Council? There are many contenders for City Council this September. So we would know what made you want to jump in on this race.
Sure. So I'm an urban planner. I work for the Downtown Toledo Development Corporation, Connect Toledo. We do economic development in downtown, and we've had a lot of success rebuilding and revitalizing that neighborhood. But I'm running to make sure that all of our neighborhoods get the same kind of attention and investment as downtown. There are a lot of contenders in the race this fall, and we're aware of that. So we're just trying to break through, but we are happy to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, the Teamsters, Local 20, Roadmap for Progress, the Ohio Environmental Council. We have a strong candidacy, and we're running alongside a number of other really good endorsed Democrats that are experts in their field. And I think those are the 6 people you got when you head to the polls.
Just so people know, you are running for an at-large seat on City Council. So what do you think makes you qualified for that position?
The work that I've done. I mean, I think a lot of candidates have highlighted that neighborhoods needs to be the focus of the city of Toledo's coming years, and I agree with them. But it's not talk for me. I mean, it's work that I do every day. We work on historic tax districts, development of derelict properties, a lot of economic development incentives. We do that every day, and we've got to make sure that we can replicate the process throughout our city. The neighborhoods surrounding are some of the highest concentrations of poverty in the city. And that needs to be the focus of where we make our efforts as a city moving forward. And I've got a record of doing that. And I think using the same strategies we've used downtown, we can do that.
What are some issues you want to tackle hitting the ground running if elected?
You know, we've got a threefold plan, which is, like I said, use the same strategies we use to redevelop how we need to focus on our neighborhoods. First and foremost, we got to make quality of life upgrades to make neighborhoods worth living in. So we've got to make investments in public transit, parks, and our infrastructure to make neighborhoods safer to walk and bicycle in. Second, we've got to get our growing again. COVID has devastated local economies, and the smaller and smaller you get, small businesses were the most affected by COVID because they didn't have 6 months worth of savings to bridge that gap. And so we've got to get our economy growing again. And we were growing slow to begin with, compared to other peer cities, other cities in Ohio, we were lagging behind them. And so we've got to look at ourselves in the mirror and wonder, what it is that we're doing right and what it is that we're doing wrong and make those changes. And then third, I've called for, and I hope, whoever gets elected at least can take this torch. We've got to support our neighborhood organizations. We have a lot of good ones. We have the Junction Coalition and the Junction Neighborhood Historic Vistula, Old West End Association, One Voice for East Toledo. And they're doing good work, and that work is important, but we've got to supercharge their efforts by funding them directly at the city level to make sure that they can do the work of repairing our housing stock and focusing on our vacant commercial corridors. That's where growth is happening across the country, is in urban cores. Young people and empty nesters are moving back into cities, moving into walkable environments. And we can do that here in Toledo. We have the infrastructure to make that happen, but it's going to take a concerted effort. And that's what we've done downtown. And that's what I want to make sure we do for our neighborhoods.
The city of Toledo has received over $180 million in federal funding from the federal government to spend over the course of 6 years. So where do you think that money should go?
So first and foremost, budget stabilization to make sure that we've cleaned up our financial house. That's the first thing we got to do. Second, I would say we got to recognize that this is a one-time thing. So it would be unwise to spend that money on things that continue to cost money in the future. So we should use it on things like infrastructure, supporting our neighborhood organizations, like I said, those sorts of things where we can make a one-time difference to really upgrade the quality of life. And so for me, that's parks, infrastructure, public transit, those sorts of things. You get them up to a standard that we can all agree on. to make our neighborhoods better places to live, make the city a better place to live. And then, those benefits will continue to redound. And third, I would say for sure, getting that money spent out in economic development. We've got to attract jobs to the city. We've got to connect people to jobs. We've got to develop our workforce. We have lots of job openings in the city. And there's a gap between the skills that our community has and the skills that are necessary. And we got to work with TPS or Ohio Means Jobs, whoever that is, to make sure that we are giving people the skills they need to get into productive employment that pays good wages.
I'm sure most city council candidates have a preference for the office of mayor. That election is also happening right now. So do you have a preference? Is there a specific person you'd like to see back in that position or a new person in that position?
Yeah, he's been endorsed by the Democratic Party. Wade has been a really successful mayor so far. We work with him and his office. We're always, in my work professionally, and they have a lot of really talented staff. They're doing a great job. And like he says, we got to keep building. One of the few politicians who is willing to recognize when things aren't going well, and he doesn't always paint a rosy picture if that's not what's really going on. So he's doing the hard work that needs to be done, and I'm a big, and he's got my support.
Are you confident in your ability to get a seat on city council and to retain that seat?
Well, we're trying. I'm wearing my shirt today because I was out canvassing just 30 minutes ago. That's what we do. We knock on doors, we make phone calls, and we're trying to connect with as many voters as possible. Our message is resonating, and to anybody that says that they wouldn't vote for me. But we got to break through, get in touch with as many people as possible. But I think, we've latched on to what a lot of people are feeling, which is that, frankly, sometimes the city just doesn't work the same for everybody. And your experience, if you grow up in Vistula or Junction, is a lot different from your suburban counterparts. You don't have access to jobs. Your neighborhood isn't as safe from an environmental standpoint. There's not as many good housing opportunities. And we got to look at our parents. Why is that? And how do we change that? And our message is starting to resonate, and that's good. I've never done this before. So, we'll see what happens. But, we're not going to be outworked. That's for sure.
What do you think makes for a strong city council candidate that can both connect with voters and also work with those in government center?
That's an interesting question. You got to have the institutional support too, and you got to know how to work with the people who are already in those positions. I've done that, through our work. We talk with people in the city all the time. Now, projects don't go across our desk that don't have some involvement with people at one government center. But there are a lot of people who feel like they feel disconnected from the workings of government. So I think anybody who is running for office, anybody who is serving in office, has to be grounded in their community. We went to a candidate forum at the Burroughs neighborhood, and they asked a question. They asked all of us, would you commit to going to at least one Burroughs neighborhood meeting per year? And one of the candidates said, maybe. Well, that's ridiculous. We should be meeting with all of our neighborhood organizations. You don't have the time to meet with these neighborhood organizations. You're in the wrong line of work, man. That's what we're here to do. We have a representative democracy for a reason. And if you aren't out there talking with neighborhood groups, talking with the actual voters, talking with the people who your work affects, you're not doing a good job of facilitating that kind of democracy. So yeah, you got to bridge that gap between institutional knowledge and then also being, connected to the grassroots efforts. And we think we've done that as a candidacy, as a campaign. But and I think, frankly, the rest of the Democrats that I'm running alongside have also been doing that as well.
What are some things Toledo voters should know about you before they head out to the polls, if they haven't already?
Yeah, I would just say, like I said, a lot of candidates have said that the neighborhoods in Toledo need to be the next focus. That's what Cardi Finkbeiner's saying. That's what the group he's running with is saying. And they're right. But it's a lot of talk from them. But I've gotten results. we have secured hundreds of millions of dollars of private and public investment. Now, I know how to do it, and I can make sure that similar development happens, for everybody in this city. If you are growing up in the central city, if you're growing up in the old South End, further along the trail, anywhere. I mean, we are a candidacy that's focused on improving the quality of life for every citizen in the city of Toledo, and we've got a track record of doing that.
Mac Driscoll, a Democrat who is running for an at-large seat on Toledo City Council. Thanks so much for joining me this Sunday.
Yeah, thank you, Jaden. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You have a good one.
You too.